Yo. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Welcome to Hacking Health Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Canning, with
Dave Kennedy.
Here we are. This is our second podcast recorded in Las Vegas. Almost a year to the date.
It has been, yeah. Yeah, we took a little bit of a hiatus for getting ready for this launch and kind of getting everything kind of reformatted and everything. And we're here in Vegas.
We are indeed.
This is your second time in Vegas, right?
It's my second time at Hacker Summer Camp, yeah.
Yeah.
Third time in Vegas.
Third time in Vegas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have some exciting news.
I mean, I feel like everybody knows. We've talked about it long enough, but
Yeah.
that is an actual reality.
It's actually real. Like, we actually have bins, and there's actually stuff in the bins that are actually real, which is crazy. So we launched the samples at Black Hat, and hopefully the site will be operational here in the next couple of days, which is good. So we're final stages, making sure everything works, the shipping, the distribution, all the logistics, the stuff that you actually have to do to get people to actually get products.
We'll say, if you're listening to this now, the site's live.
Site's live. Yeah.
And we'll just make sure that we don't release this until the site's live.
But it's crazy because I've handed out probably 600-700 samples so far, and the feedback has been great, both on flavor. I had Mike Owens shot me a message and was like, "Oh man, the chocolate's awesome." He's like, "It doesn't have any like the artificial sweetener taste to it. It's got a really crisp chocolate flavor to it." I think the products turn out really good, and somehow the strawberry
Even we were surprised how good the flavor was.
Strawberry lime got even better somehow from when we first approved the flavoring. So it's much smoother, much better flavor to it, and the ingredients came out perfect. It couldn't have been any better, I think.
I think we should talk about how we ended up here, the original idea. I think I will give you the credit. Like, I wasn't really a pre-workout guy until you just kept shipping me pre-workout, and then I became a pre-workout person, and then we had the idea of like, maybe we could start our own company, and that was about 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago, yeah.
And then we hemmed and hawed about it, didn't do it, weren't going to do it, was going to do it, and then here we are.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into planning this. Like, we could have went.
Well, did you know? Whenever we had this idea, did you know we were going to have to do everything that we needed to do?
No, it's been a lot of work. Like, it's a lot more work than I thought it was ever going to be honest with you. We could have taken the easy route, which was, going with a white label company that already had these pre-planned pre-workouts, and then you basically, use your brand, and we didn't want that. We wanted, premium ingredients, our own, formulations of what we thought was the best, what worked the best based on the, the research that's out there, dosing it appropriately. And we really came out with something that took a long time. It's like, when you write your own custom tool or application in cybersecurity, it takes a long time to build that application and tool, a lot of pain and suffering and late nights and things like that. But, I think we must have been through probably 50 different iterations of this to get to the point they're at. I mean, I think the chocolate protein took the longest, and the peach probably too. Well, the shell pop, sorry.
Yeah. Formerly known as peach.
It was originally peach,
known as
and
peach.
then we moved it to shell pop.
Well, I think one of the first conversations that we had with Jess, she asked like what sort of.
And Jess
product.
is the person that runs Synergy Labs that's producing this for us. So they're great folks over there. Helped us out a ton. I got to go to their facility and actually check it out, how they're producing it, the manufacturing process, where they source everything from, all GMP certified, third party tested for banned substances, like all that stuff. So high end, distribution facility and everything else that we're doing, which is great, right?
Yeah, but she asked what sort of product do we want, and I think we both right away said something that we wanted to use.
Yeah.
So that's how we've ended up in the situation.
Well, what's crazy is, Aaron and I really love Alpha Lion. Like, that's been one of our favorite pre-workouts for the longest time. And I always said, well, we'll probably come up with this product, but I'll probably still use Alpha Lion. And when I got it and I started using it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way better. And, Aaron said the same thing. She would go to Orange Theory and get like double the splat points, because pre-workout helped her push harder. Same with me. I noticed the immediate difference. When you look at, we're using like Santa Nu for energy, using GABA for focus and clarity energy, IGF-1 production, beta alanine obviously is in most of the pre-workouts that you see out there based on, oxidation and your muscles' ability to continue to go. L-citrulline malate, with focusing on like endurance and being able to keep going with your muscles and, cardio, everything else. Just the ingredients themselves just kept kind of evolving. And I remember spending night after night after night just in scientific research, just looking at the papers, looking at like, hey, this one weird study that had 5 people that didn't cut it. It was, like a lot of data, a lot of folks focusing on, what products actually make a difference. And that's really where we kind of came in. And it's funny because when we released the ingredients list for the pre-workout, everybody now becomes an expert in
I was reading
ingredients.
through the comments on Twitter
like,
last
oh my
night, and I was like,
gosh.
where have these people come from?
Well, they'll find one study that says, well, the dosages was, like for GABA, for example, there was a study that came out that showed, you had a 400 per, I think it was either a 300 or 400% increase in IGF-1 or human growth hormone factor 1 pre-workout, and then a 200% increase post-workout. So you're seeing like a 600 increase, fold of human growth hormone factor, which helps with, recovery, helps with building muscle. It helps with just, longevity, everything else. It's a great thing that your body does. You can do the same thing, by the way, with a sauna. Sauna, you can get 400 or 500% increase human growth hormone factor too. But that one study was dosing athletes with 3,500. Well, in our pre-workout, it's 1,500, right? And if you look at the GABA studies, there's like 40 other studies aside from that one that show the same human growth hormone factor with lower dosages, right? And you got to kind of balance the game of what's safe, what's been studied safe, and what's been not studied long-term in other ones. So like for GABA, for example, if you have super high amounts of GABA, well, it's probably going to mess up your GI tract. It's going to have a lot of other issues, and you're not really gaining any additional benefits from an IGF-1 perspective. And GABA also hits your GABA receptors in your brain, and it's widely debated whether or not GABA bypasses what's called the blood-brain barrier. But we have GABA receptors in our stomach, which then in turn they think that's how it's transported to the brain. But there's so many studies that show like overall well-being, overall stress reduction, overall mood and clarity, overall focus, like countless studies after studies after studies, double-blind placebo studies, everything else. So, to me, GABA was like a really big addition to a pre-workout that I really haven't seen in any other pre-workouts before, right? And it's one that I can definitely feel when I'm taking it. I feel focused, I feel clear, I feel energetic, I feel like I'm recovering faster. So it wasn't just putting the buzzwords of beta alanine or alpha GPC. We really focus on the studies and like, hey, how can we take people to the next level in their workouts and maximize what they're doing in their time? And I think that's really what we came through.
Yeah, I think going into the data and going into the research, knowing the people that I work with and people within the community, like they want to know that stuff, and obviously putting the studies together and having the research and the resource papers on the site will be beneficial as well, because it's not just, like you said, we put the names on it for the fun of putting the names on it. Like everything is in there for a reason, dosed the way it is for a reason, and with all the studies there to back it.
Well, it's funny because you look at alpha GPC, and some of these pre-workouts have like just an insane amount of alpha GPC in it, which you take alpha GPC and yohimbia extracts, those are those can mess up your GI tract, and also those large dosages haven't been studied throughout. You can still get an amazing focus, clarity, energy around alpha GPC at lower dosages, like 0.15, 0.25, 0.30 milligrams of alpha GPC has a huge impact. But it's the whole picture that makes a big difference, right? So we have GABA, which is going to be your primary area of focus, clarity, and then you have alpha GPC kind of backing that up, right? You don't need copious amounts. Like how much brain power do you really need to go into that, right? So we really focused on a lot. I mean, we had alpha GPC dosed really high at first, and I took it down because it was just too much. So and same thing for the caffeine. Like everybody's like, but first of all, I think the response on the amount of caffeine has been perfect, because only like the really hardcore guys and gals are pumping 400. I used to be there, by the way. And I can't do that anymore.
I remember all too well.
Yeah, too much. I didn't realize how bad of an 400 milligrams of caffeine really is. And but you build a tolerance up for it, I understand. But what we did is it's 100 milligrams of caffeine, but it's also 30 and 35 milligrams of extended and delayed caffeine. So what happens is we have these things in our brains called andesine receptors, and it's tied to our circadian rhythm, or our biological clock. And so when we wake up in the morning, our andesine receptors, the andesine starts to build up and hit the andesine receptors, and it's basically telling our body what time of the day it is. Mm-hmm. Caffeine doesn't actually give you any energy. Like, it's not an energy production thing. It doesn't have a chemical reaction that produces ATP that allows you to work harder or anything like that. Not like beta alanine, which has been shown obviously to allow you to perform much more and have your muscles outperform what you normally would without it. I mean, clinical study after clinical study. With caffeine, it masks it. It basically it binds to the andesine receptors, and it says, hey, it's still early in the morning, I still have a lot of energy, right? So your body doesn't know it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It thinks it's still 9 or 10 o'clock, and you need to still be very productive at that point in time. So with and that's why you get the caffeine crashes. So what happens with caffeine is it typically has, it could be anywhere from like a 6 to 8 hour lifespan in your body. However, it starts to crash very quickly after about 2 hours. So after about 2 hours of caffeine, you start to see this really steep decline in the andesine receptors, and all of a sudden now you have all this andesine flooding into your receptors, and all of a sudden now you get this crash and you're super tired. Mm-hmm. And I'd run into this too. If I take pre-workout that didn't have extended or delayed caffeine, I would get a crash and I'd want to take a nap, halfway through the day, like 12, 1 o'clock, I'd take a 20, 30 minutes.
Or have more caffeine.
Or have more caffeine to keep those andesine receptors going, right? With this and the extended and delayed, what happens is, it's a taper. So, you peak at a certain point and then it starts to slowly go down over time, so you don't get those crashes. You don't need the need for, having to take a nap or feeling super tired. And the delay hits when it's, about ready time to go to bed. Mm-hmm. So now it's the right time to go to bed, right? Your andesine receptors are like, oh, hey, it's 10 o'clock at night. You're good to go. You're not getting those crashes and you're sleepy. One thing that I want to mention too is that an amazing thing of GABA. So GABA is actually used very heavily in sleep aids, mm-hmm. But it doesn't make you sleepy, but it helps your brain relax, and it's been shown in the data studies to help you get better REM sleep and longer periods of deep sleep as you're going through. So not only are we hitting, your performance, your pump with S7. S7 is a well-studied, a lot of clinical trials pump. It helps blood flow to your body, so you get that massive pump. So we're not only helping with the pump, we're not only helping with the energy, we're not only helping with the recovery with the IGF-1 production and your energy levels throughout the day, but we're also helping with sleep, which is going to be your biggest byproduct of how you get your gains, right? So, for me, this thing hits all of different areas that pre-workouts don't typically do. I mean, pre-workouts are thinking about, hey, I need to give you the most amount of burst of energy for an hour to 2 hours, and after that, we don't really care what happens.
You're on your own.
You're on your own.
I think we should talk specifically on that, because I think a lot of people, probably due to pre-workouts they've tried in the past, like they have that feeling, and generally it's going to be the beta-alanine mm-hmm. feeling, where your face is just itchy. And we've been back and forward on this many times that I'm not really a fan of that. But with this, I don't really get, in fact, I don't get it at all in terms of like the itchiness. So in terms of the dosing of that, because I know a lot of people have asked like, oh, I don't like beta-alanine, like I don't like the feeling. I'm like, no, me either. But I've been using it for about 6 months and I have no issue.
I have not had any of the itches. Some people like it, some people don't.
I think it's a perfect blend. It's they want the feeling, and that gives them the feeling, and they think that's the thing that helps them train. For me, it just distracts me because I'm like giving it.
You're always itchy. I remember the first time I thought I was dying. Like, I was like, is this normal? Like, am I supposed to be itching a little bit? I thought I had like an allergic reaction to it. So I Googled, am I dying now with this pre-workout? But no, we dosed so the beta-alanine dosages are based on a multitude of studies on the amounts, right? I think a lot of the pre-workouts will pump a lot more beta-alanine in there to get you that itch or that feeling, so you can trigger to say, hey, it's actually
you're
working,
like, oh, this is so good.
Right, where you don't need it, right? Again, we really focused on dosing things the appropriate way and based on multiple studies, not just like one independent study that says, hey, you need to take 10,000, we got, some people asking a lot of great questions too, like why use, citrulline malate, which is fermented versus just, pure citrulline, right? And the answer to that is the malate component of it makes a big difference in performance, and the studies show it, right? If you take just citrulline and then citrulline malate fermented, you're going to have a better performance on the citrulline malate based on the latest studies. And a lot of people, would look at old studies at like 2015, 14, 13 that have since, been disproven or aren't as efficient as citrulline malate when it comes to the studies. So you have like a 2023 study that shows citrulline malate being superior. 2024 study. There's new studies coming out all the time. So this may change. The formulation may change based on the science and data, right?
We specifically made it version 1. Because if things change, we will keep up to date and we will change it as they go.
And that's the thing, like, feedback from the community, mm-hmm. Feedback from the data studies that are coming out. If Derek from More Plates, More Dates decides to do a review and says we suck at these areas, we'll probably make some changes to it because Derek's amazing.
Well, Bill gives a pretty good review. He enjoyed himself yesterday, first time taking pre-workout. So we're on for that.
Yeah, but the folks that have taken it have really said, hey, I've noticed a huge difference with this. And it's not this, most potent stim. It's not 400 milligrams. If you do one serving, it's 165. Do 2 servings, it's obviously 300 and, what is that?
Quick math,
20, 320, 315, whatever it is. So 350 milligrams of caffeine, right? Which is the great range for both people that are more on the higher end of caffeine and on the lower side. But the ingredients, dosed at 1 scoop is perfect. The ingredients dosed at 2 scoops is also perfect. We had to balance the two, on the amount of numbers. So it was really cool to kind of come up with that. And then, the protein, it's funny because, I'm a huge fan of Dynamize ISO Whey 100. And they have the Cocoa Pebbles flavor.
That's been the staple.
Yeah, that's been the staple. Like, and I've tried all these other proteins. Like, Jocko makes some great stuff, but I can't do it when it comes to the Cocoa Pebbles. Like, I just can't switch. Like, all the protein is great. And, what we set out to do was make first of all, the protein is 100%, whey isolized, hydrolyzed isolate. Mm-hmm. So whey hydrolyzed isolate, which basically takes the molecules of the proteins and the branched chain amino acids and essential amino acids and breaks them away from kind of the fatty components of the whey and the thicker parts of that molecule. And so what ends up happening is, you're able to really easily digest the protein and have it absorbed in your body almost instantaneously in your media. I mean, it's based on the studies, I think, where they looked at whey isolate hydrolyzed, and it was like, within the first few minutes, like 5 minutes, your body starts to digest it and use it in your muscles, right? So after, post-workout, this is the thing that you want to take to actively go and do it. And the flavors, so I'm not a fan of vanilla, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'd say, and I think,
and I like it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We couldn't just have chocolate. I mean, if it were me, because what I do is I'm like, I'll get, that flavor sounds delicious, and I'll get it, and I'll have like 3 scoops. I'm like, nah, I'll just get back to chocolate. But originally, whenever they sent us the 2 vanilla, it was just the regular vanilla and then the French vanilla, and I was like, this is like no other vanilla I've ever tried. Yeah. Like, it was absolutely bang on. It was perfect. It was back and forward with the chocolate.
And the bin that I have of the vanilla is gone because I actually love the vanilla taste for it. It's not chalky. It doesn't have a lot of the artificial sweetener flavors in it. We did get dinged a little bit on sucralose, which I want to, a lot of people have a misunderstanding around microgut biomes and sucralose. So there was a study that came out that showed in vitro that sucralose can damage DNA. And then everybody took that as, oh my God, sucralose is poisonous to us. First of all, it's in vitro, which means it's in a petri dish. Okay, so it's not your body. It's just using our DNA cells and then basically putting sucralose on that. And it was actually not sucralose. It was actually a byproduct of sucralose that only comes out during like impurities of sucralose. So it's not even what's in sucralose, which hasn't been shown to damage DNA. But what's interesting about that study is, like, you can put, like I was looking at Dr. Ray Norton, you can put glutamine, which is a core component of our body, and that will damage DNA, right? So, in vitro means nothing in comparison. Like, it balanced additional studies. But what they found is, in order to have a negative impact on your gut biome or have any carcinogenic effects of these artificial sweeteners, you'd have to consume so much sucralose that it's not even possible for a human to do that. I mean, we're talking like, you would have to have, let's just say there's a Diet Pepsi that has sucralose in it. You have to consume like 300 diet sodas a day for that to impact your microgut biome, right? So based on the studies, sucralose is completely safe. Some people will say, hey, sucralose doesn't agree with me. Well, there's some things that we did in the formulations to make digestion much better. So, we have, oh gosh, what was the name of it? I can actually pull it right here, which is great. So we put in silicon dioxide, and which helps with digestion as well. So, again, we looked at this from a GI perspective as well. Like, how does this, get digested in your body? How easy is it for it to be consumed by our body and used immediately? And I think we really nailed it. I haven't had any GI issues with this, aside from, when I take, 150 or 200, 300, I got to use the bathroom really quick, just as a normal.
That's a regular?
That's a regular.
That's a regular thing?
Yeah, but other than that, it's been spot on.
So, what's next?
Well, so listen, this is our first product launch. We want feedback from the community, right? There's a lot that goes into building this out. This is obviously version 1.0, right? We had version 0.1, which turned out to be horrible. The flavoring wasn't great. The ingredients we didn't like much. It wasn't that we didn't like the ingredients, we just needed to do better. And we kind of pushed ourselves and kept going, right? I think our goal is, one, get the products out. We have an organic protein that's very close to being finished. We're just finalizing the chocolate flavors with that. Vanilla's already done and approved. So that'll be coming out in the next few months, which, keep an eye on that. There's some cool news around that as well. And I also, we're already starting the nootropic aspect, so the non-stim version of our pre-workout, which won't contain any stims. So like we'll be removing the caffeine, probably the Santa. We'll see on the stim side, but the formulation and the ingredients are pretty much getting wrapped up. And then I also tried a flavor, which I should have brought it for you. I'm sorry, but it was sour green apple. It was awesome. It was just nailed that one. It was a perfect flavoring of sour green apple. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So I think sour green apple may be a new flavor. Justin Elsie, one of our guys over there, wants us to do a blue screen, what was it? Blueberry, something like that. A blue screen rat, whatever we could do, but blue screen blueberry would be good. But it's coming up with different flavors, coming up with different products. We'll probably just do a creatine version
like
as well for everybody, so you can get everything you need, right, at one-stop shop. Creatine, listen, you can go and get creatine anywhere. What I like about Creapure specifically, so the weight distribution between Creapure and creatine, when you take creatine, just regular monohydrate, and you drop it into water, it has that real like grainy, feel to it that a lot of people don't like. Whereas Creapure, it dissolves very easily, molecule-wise, much finer, and so allows it to mix properly within whatever you're doing. So I think we're putting out the creatine, a non-stim version, an organic protein, and we'll just see where this goes. I mean, the reason why we did this is to have fun with it, to give something awesome to the community, take what we've learned and researched, and apply kind of the hacker mindset to it, right? And just build a badass quality product that people can get behind and think it's kind of cool part of the hacking community and the industry. And I think at the end of the day, we nailed this one at least. And hey, if this doesn't work, I have a lot of pre-workout that I can use that I love for the rest of my life. So this would be great.
Yeah, for sure. I think we need to touch on the site in general, because we sort of shifted on that, because originally the site was just going to be for the supplements, but we're going to have a sort of space for everything. Yeah. So the podcast will obviously be listed on the site.
Blog.
We'll have the research and the resources. We'll have a blog. And we'll just continue to build that as a good spot to go and find out decent information or up-to-date research and resources on things as well.
Yeah, and I'll say Arjun did a great job with pulling the website together and showing.
Yeah. I will say, and I know we listened to this, there was a level of frustration. I was like, what the fuck's taking so long? And then I was like, oh, I've seen it now. I can understand. Like, it's a lot.
The level of detail,
the
digital, what he did with like this, how things move and operate. The site looks really, really good, and he's done an awesome job. It's funny because we're like, oh, we're just going to launch like Monday or Tuesday, and then we look at like what
actually has to happen. Like just wrote the list.
Not launching Monday or Tuesday.
Maybe next Monday.
Yeah. Well, even just the back end shipping process. Like we're using Shopify as kind of the back end, and then we're using easy shipping as part of it. I didn't know that, and so I had to get like a UPS account, a USPS account, business accounts, all.
Even the amount of time I spent trying to get a barcode, like the things that I didn't even comprehend that I would have.
So we have a global registered barcode that then can be tied into MyFitnessPal and things like that. So the registration pieces of everything and kind of get everything done. The Hacking Your Health domain was already taken, and so I had to pay a premium to get that. So we got that now, which is great. So the whole website, everything will be shifted over from wehack.health to hackingyourhealth.com.
Mm-hmm. Which will be live when you listen to this.
Yeah. It looks good.
It could be next week or it could be next month. We don't know.
I think it's going to be next week. I think we're pretty close on. I think, from what I talked with Arjun, there's just a couple of minor things we got to get done. And then, we're all set up for the distribution. What's nice about how we handle this process is the place we get this produced at Synergy, takes all of the extracts and the ingredients and everything else and mixes it and flavors it and everything directly at the plant. It's again, one of the highest rated GMP certified supplement companies in the country. And they score leaps and bounds on efficacy and quality and cleanliness and just doing everything by the book by the FDA. And so we, that was a great thing for us because that's, they practice and preach excellence, which is exactly what we do. And what's nice about that is the distribution of it is handled directly through them as well. So, they go in a couple times a day, fulfill the order, ship them out. We don't have to do all that, which is fantastic. So I think it's going to be.
We're not running down to the post office shipping out the.
Yeah, exactly. which I thought we were going to have to at first. Like I was like, well, how do we handle like international shipping? But
that's another thing. A couple of people have asked that as well about international shipping. And my understanding at this point is there's nowhere that we can't ship to. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll find that out differently in the coming days or coming weeks, but it is available worldwide.
Yeah. So I mean, cool. You're seeing the evolution, I think, here of hacking your health and everything that we're really trying to aspire to. This for us isn't like, hey, we're going to build a massive conglomerate, thing. But however, I will say that the Strength Co. reached out to us about exclusively using some of our pre-workouts and proteins, which is great. So you may see us in some stores. Who knows with how this goes? I will say the labeling will change a little bit. So this is the first run, obviously, but we're going to do like raised lettering and things like that. Based on the time constraints we had for it, we didn't have the time to do the matte type of feel to it. So it'll have more of a premium feel next time these go around. So the first batches will be just kind of standard, print, but we will definitely have more of a premium feel to it moving forward. Just didn't, the matte was out of stock at the time when we got the printing done, and it was tight.
Well, we tried to push, like if we're going to do full transparency, we tried to push to be launched like today.
Yeah.
To get that done, and I mean they did give us it. We just weren't ready with the site.
That's right. They did. They handled everything they possibly could, and if you look at the back of this, which is neat, full transparency on the labels of all the ingredients, but also there's a bunch of companies that we partnered with for the ingredients. So BioPurine, Samta New Energy, Zum XR, which is the delayed and extended, S7, which is the pump. So all of these products, really, have a lot of great research behind them, and we partnered with literally the best. And what I also like about this is it's 40 servings. Mm-hmm. So if you look at most pre-workouts, you're going to get 20 servings per workout. Obviously, if you're using 2 scoops, it'll be 40 servings, but much larger bin, right? Based on the dosing of the ingredients, you have to have.
Yes, we had a lot of stuff
inside to put that in there. But
it'll be put off if it's a big scoop.
Yeah, but it mixes extremely well. There's no grains. It tastes amazing. The shell pop is great. The strawberry lime's my favorite. Mm-hmm. Shell pop's my second favorite. It's still really good.
I will say there's been a lot of feedback about these single serving sachets, so we will do our utmost to have those available for people to travel, so you don't have to do the.
Yeah, if you look at 10
this is not pack. Drugs in a Ziploc bag. Yeah. Like we can have this good to go.
They have a 10 or 20 pack of that. You can order like 20 pack at a time.
Yeah, I think that's a good shirt as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. So, hey, it's an evolution. We're figuring things out. Obviously the podcast has been a little bit on a hiatus. We'll be coming back here very soon. I miss it. I miss it. I miss it. So I miss us hanging, but we got a good new format coming out. Dylan's been helping out with kind of how it's going to sound, look, feel, everything else. I think we got a really good way of kind of moving into the next generation, next iteration, version 2, if you will, of Hacking Your Health.
Well, we're almost, the first episode we recorded was the 18th of August, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago?
I think it was 3 years ago, wasn't it?
3 years ago?
Yeah, it's 3 years ago.
So it's time.
Yeah, it's time to do a revamp of that and get it all going, especially the launch of the website and everything. So
yeah, good.
Well, that's it from us, man. We just wanted to give a quick, brief update on everything that's going on. We appreciate the community. We appreciate all you folks supporting us. We want feedback. The email address, to hit us out is info@hackingyourhealth.com. We'd love to get some feedback from you, things that we can improve on it, things you don't like, things you like. We'll take a look at it, and if you're crazy saying GABA doesn't do anything, then we're gonna shut that down. But if you have suggestions on dosages or things that I missed, we're always open for feedback. But we think we hit the nail on the head on this one, and we'll continue to iterate and get better with version 1.1, 1.5, 2.0, whatever it ends up being. We'll keep going, and we could probably talk about this. We're also going to be doing limited edition releases of different flavors. So, we might have like an orange popsicle
But we're not doing pineapple.
Not doing pineapple. So.
No, we don't need to get into this. We don't need to get into the story.
Do not.
Dave does
listen,
not like
I'm just going to tell you, if you're ever going for a colonoscopy, don't flavor the water you have to use for prep. I used pineapple juice or pineapple flavoring, and I can never use pineapple ever again.
So you'll never have a pineapple.
You'll never have a pineapple. I'm sorry, folks. If you like pineapple, it's not happening with Hacking Your Health because I can't use it. So colonoscopies and pineapple is not a good thing. So, well, thanks all very much for tuning in, and we'll have a new podcast out here shortly. And I hope you enjoy the new format. Hope you enjoy the supplements. And always check us out at We Hack Health, hashtag We Hack Health on social media, Instagram, everything else, and hackingyourhealth.com.
See you next week.